right now, Ellen Page, joins me here in Studio Q. It's great to meet you.
You too. It's so wonderful to be here. Thank you.
So you're the person who actually passed this novel on to Patricia Rozema. Then you produced it. You co-starred in it. It's your first time producing?
Yeah.
Is that right?
Yeah.
The book was literally handed to you. But what drew you into the story? What made you want to make a movie out of it?
Wow. Well, I think lots of things. I think at that time and now still, it encompassed a lot of things that I was thinking about in terms of our relationship to the environment, our society's relationship to the environment, the changes we're all seeing and what that means. And I've always been attracted to post-apocalyptic stories. And I was, when I read this one that was, told through the relationship between these two sisters and their struggle to survive essentially alone. I mean, and the highs and the lows and the tragedy, but the hope, it was just, I devoured the book and thought, oh, this would make a good movie, basically.
A couple things you said there that I want to get into. First of all, you have an interest in eco-sustainability. Is that right? And that was kind of growing around that time?
Yeah, I mean, I went to Oregon and I studied permaculture design and eco-village development, which was a very special experience. That's actually where I met Ian Daniel, who I co-gaycation with, and then obviously this film has elements of that in it.
What prompted that? That's a big trip to learn that stuff.
Yeah, I mean, I think I was, that's what I was interested in reading about. I had sort of finished, Juno had just come out, and then I, which was, an amazing experience. And then I trained for this movie called Whip It, where I was a roller derby star, and I shot that movie. And I think some part of me needed to, disconnect slightly, and wanted to go feel maybe potentially more connected to the natural world and the earth and learn more about it. I look forward to a time where I can implement it more in my life because,
Another thing you brought up was this story centers on two sisters. And audiences don't usually see two women starring in a post-apocalyptic film. Why do you suppose that is?
I think we don't see two women starring a film together that often in general, which is obviously hopefully changing and continuing to change right now. Thank goodness. You don't. I mean, I can think of Haneke made this amazing movie called Time of the Wolf with Isabelle Huppert that I love. But you don't see it often. I think typically because they are maybe. And a lot of them are fantastic, but, larger spectacle, end of understandably so. And unfortunately, we haven't seen as many with women so much.
As you were saying, this story touches on many themes. A lot of things interested you here. You say it's a metaphor for grief, the film. How so?
Well, I think it's about grief. It's about letting go, of our expectations and some of the things we attach ourselves to, absolutely myself included, our fear of change, our fear of our own impermanence. And I think the film has a lot to do with these girls coming to terms with the fact that these lives that they've seen in front of them, Evan Rachel Wood's character is an impeccable dancer. The girl I play is an academic, and they're very attached to their future as they see it in this world that they see as this permanent thing. And when the power comes out, of course it's going to come back on. Of course gas is going to come back again. Of course there'll be food in the grocery store. But this is a time where it does actually not come back. And so not only are they dealing with the loss of many things and different things that I, of course, don't want to give away, but they're dealing with just an overall sense of grief and loss of what they've known and what they were about to expect, which I think is a huge part of just what being alive means, even if it's not even in that extremity of circumstance. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. So much that we expect to be there could easily be taken away from us.
Yeah.
And that is a deep fear I think everybody has. The physical dimension of that is present in this film. It makes you think about how would you survive in those circumstances? I mean, right away I was like, I'd be dead.
Yeah, I'm the same. I'm utterly.
Is that what you?
Yeah, I mean, I have no skills to provide. I will say that one thing I think empowered me reading the book / made me feel sad, but and in the film is all of the everything they're learning and everything they're doing is knowledge that's available to us. And for the most part, we've lost it. We're not taught it. I wish we were. How nice would it be to, I'm just going to walk in the park and forage for some food right now or what have you, So I hope it's empowering because it's that knowledge is, it's available.
It's out there.
Yeah.
And you acquired some of it. You said you're looking forward to practicing some of that knowledge at some point.
Yeah. I think I look forward to that in the future for sure when I'm probably settle a little bit more. Yeah.
You've been very busy lately. I'd like to catch our listeners up a little bit on some of the things you've been working on.
Sure.
But before that, it's been a little over 2 years now since you publicly came out as gay at a human rights event. You earned a lot of respect from a lot of people that day. It was an emotional moment. Looking back, it's been a couple years now. How central is that moment in your life now when you look back?
Best decision I've ever made. Yeah. I mean, I feel like I still get a little emotional talking about it. I feel like a different person. And I feel so lucky. It's like so fortunate for that. Because that's not the case for a lot of people who come out. They are not in a room and get applause and get an outpouring of love and support, get to continue in a career that they love, that pays them, that allows them so much experience to meet, interesting people, wonderful people like yourself. I think I'm filled with so much gratitude and I just don't know what to say other than I do feel like a different person. Yeah.
I read that you were working on the movie Freeheld around that time and that your own experience was paralleling what your character was going through. Did working on that film influence your decision to come out?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, absolutely. But I feel like that, the film's about Laurel Hester and Stacey Andre. And I think, what those two women did was, so extraordinary and so brave. And they did it in a time of unimaginable difficulty and tragedy and loss. And those are the kinds of people that inspire you to do the right thing and the right thing for yourself. And so, yeah, that was for sure a part of it.
You said you're grateful you've been able to continue with your career and thrive. But do you see a double standard when it comes to gay actors playing straight in Hollywood now?
Obviously, that's the issue that lingers, and of course it's absurd because we have straight actors playing gay actors or who knows why, we're all just sort of assuming what people's identities are or what have you. But and I think that's obviously what makes it difficult for so many actors and young actors and actresses to come out and speak their truth. And hopefully that's changing. It seems like it's changing, and hopefully that will continue to change. Yeah.
Was that a fear of yours? Was it like professional? Was that part of?
I mean, I think I had a lot of fears. I think there was a lot of reasons. I think you're on your own individual journey that anyone's going on, regardless of a transition into being a person who's not anonymous anymore, and that aspect of one's life. But yeah, I think there's something that isn't even always necessarily overtly said, but absolutely, of course, there's a feeling of like, no, you just can't come out, or keep your private life private, and then which, yeah, of course, and lots of people keep their private life private, but they still exist in their world with their lover, their partner, their spouse, so. But I'm hoping it's changing and will continue to change. Yeah.
Well, you've contributed to getting LGBT stories out there, both in movies and through the Viceland travel show that we referenced off the top, Gaycation. You and your best friend, Ian Daniel, explore LGBT cultures around the world. Can you describe a memorable moment that you've had internationally in the last couple of years?
Wow. Well, I've had many memorable moments. I've met, extraordinary people all around the world, some of the most brave people you could ever meet. I feel it's so hard to choose
pick one. Yeah.
I know. I mean, I feel like because, everywhere I've met people that have just, blown my mind with how amazing and how special they are. I really feel so fortunate to have met Angeline Jackson in Jamaica, who's an activist there. And she's been through a lot. And what she's doing for her community and for the LGBTQ community and equality in Jamaica is pretty incredible. And I just feel lucky to have gotten to meet her and talk to her. Yeah.
You seem very not just grateful, but sensitive to the challenges that other people face elsewhere in the world and even here, but in different circumstances. Did that always kind of occur to you, or was this show kind of pivotal in revealing that to you?
Yeah, I mean, I think I did. I was conscious of my my privilege and everything that I've had in my life or what have you. By making the show, just took that to a new level, because I think you can read about things, you can obviously do your best to stay aware of an understanding, and then needless to say, there's nothing like
experiencing
meeting
it,
people who are just so affected and struggle so much because of discrimination. And yeah, I think absolutely, because I think of even, the moments I've had that have been, hard or difficult or sad or what have you, and that's, been my own journey. And then I can't even fathom, the feeling and the day-to-day struggle and fear that people are faced with. And it, wow. It's devastating and it needs to change.
You've talked about being in such a happier place now. How has that affected your approach to your work?
I feel like, well, here's the thing, it's pretty much for the first time in my work, my authentic self and not everything about who I am, but a huge part of who I am gets to align with my creative world. And that has been such an extraordinary feeling. And I think it's enabled me to feel inspired and excited about filmmaking again, the way that I felt when I was first falling in love with film when I was 15. And it's such a beautiful feeling. And to be in a position where I'm able to produce stories or develop stories is incredible. So I'm just feeling so, I don't know, excited.
I ask because a lot of artists worry about not coming from a place of angst and pain.
Right. Yes. I think that's so good what you just said. And I feel like I, at some point, related to that. And I related to, being on set and shooting something dark and, I need to, and something's shifted, and maybe that wouldn't be the case for everybody. And maybe people do want that angst or whatever, no judgment to people's process by any means. But for me, it's been getting to come from this place of just openness, just sort of now it's so, I think I'm pretty counterintuitive when I'm working. If I'm shooting something really dark and heavy, I might just blast Arcade Fire and dance privately, because there's this feeling of just I'm going to just open up completely and try and be in a space where everything that's coming just is. This sounds so actor.
No.
Sorry.
No. This is fascinating.
But to be in a space that can only hopefully be just truthful and present, and I feel like it's made me. I feel like see more, be able to go deeper, what have you. I don't know if that'll be translated on film, but that's how I'm feeling doing the work. Yeah.
It's fascinating to me because I think you're at an interesting place in your career for a lot of reasons. I mean, you started acting when you were 10. So at this point, you're young, but also a veteran. What is that like? Do you reflect on that?
I mean, yeah, I think it is a funny feeling because I'm young and I feel very young in so many ways. And then in other ways, not so much because I have been working for a while and had to have maybe a certain kind of self-discipline and been surrounded by older people for most of my life. But I feel like it's it's exciting right now because it does feel. I'm feeling like everything's sort of brand new. You know, a lot of experiences are brand new for me because of making that decision 2 years ago, and the films that I get to create, or traveling with my girlfriend, or what have you. And so there's something that feels like new and fresh, and it's really an inspiring feeling. Yeah.
Okay, just wrapping up here. The reason you produced Into the Forest, your first time producing, was to challenge yourself, was to help keep that excitement and ambition alive. How challenging was producing?
It's definitely more work, and putting an independent film together is a lot of ups and downs, and you just kind of keep going. But I think I like that. It's nice to wake up in the morning and be like, oh, I have that to fight for. And yes, it almost fell apart yesterday, but we're going to figure it out. And to then get to say, hey, Evan Rachel Wood, who I've been wanting to work with since, I saw 13 and just am crazy about her. And for her to be a part of this movie. And I really was lucky to work with people who were really generous. They were patient. I wanted to learn, developing a film in terms of the creative aspects, but also the financial aspects, and to have a greater understanding of that moving forward. And so it was, it's more work, but it's very, it's enjoyable. It's enjoyable work. Yeah.
What's the next challenge for you?
The next challenge is, I'll be in Toronto shooting Flatliners, and then I'm shooting a film that I'm producing with Kate Mara and Christine Vachon, which is a love story between Kate and myself in September, and then I'm doing a zombie film in Ireland after that. I'm very excited about. Yeah.
Well, it's great having you in here. Pleasure meeting you.
Oh, thank you for having me.